Happy Wednesday, everybody. Thanks for being here. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about one of the number one questions that I get asked when sales professionals reach out to me, whether they're interested in being on my team or not. If you've been following me for a while, then you know that I have gone through Jeremy Miner's NEPQ training modules and have found tremendous success from them. But does that mean that everybody who goes through NEPQ has the same success that I do? I'm going to be answering those questions today, talking about the pros and cons of going through and investing in NEPQ yourself, and hopefully it'll give you some clarity on if you're on the fence on what to do moving forward. As a disclaimer, Jeremy Miner has not asked me to post this video. I'm getting no financial incentive to do it. Whether you choose to buy it has no impact or effect on me. I hope I'm just a voice of reason for you if you are on the fence. All right, let's get started. If you are just now finding this channel, my name is Dana Neeson and I run a telesales team for Tailored Legacy. We sell final expense insurance with one carrier across 17 states, and my job is to help you have stronger, more sophisticated sales conversations. Today, we are going to be talking about a popular sales coaching methodology that was founded by Jeremy Miner. It is called NEPQ, stands for Neuro Emotional Persuasion Questioning. I have been in telesales for over 20 years and have always done fairly well. I've always been in the top 10% of sales professionals in every organization that I've been at, but I also have a very strong work ethic. I have strong communication skills. I follow directions well. I have very in-tuned active listening skills, just fundamentally. And I think part of that is stuff that if that doesn't come natural to you and you have to work on getting motivated to show up to work every day, if you have to work on, figuring out how to not let rejection bother you, some of those things come very natural to me. And being able to just focus on a sales process and the sales process only was the only thing that I was really searching for when I stumbled upon Jeremy Miner and the NEPQ program. A little bit of my backstory. I got my life insurance license in November of 2020 and immediately partnered with Adam Hale, who owns Tailored Legacy. For the 13 years prior, he had only run a field sales organization, and I came in and said, hey, I wanted to do telesales. I also wanted to take a reduced commission for free leads. I wanted a proof of concept. I wanted to prove the model. So I was given a bunch of aged leads and a script that field agents used. I took that script, I trusted the people that came before me, and I ran with it. Over time, I slightly modified it as I understood the industry. As I figured out what maybe works well for the field doesn't necessarily translate well over the phone. It took me some time to sort of figure that out. And on average, I had probably about a 25 to 30% conversion rate. Now, that is a very good conversion rate in this industry. It's probably a really good conversion rate in any industry. However, it wasn't good enough for me. I knew that there were still people that I was talking to that wanted final expense insurance, and something that I was doing or something that I was saying or wasn't saying was causing them to not want to make that decision with me. And I'm very confident in saying that it really had nothing to do with price at all. It was that I wasn't helping them feel comfortable in changing their current situation from where they are to where they wanted to be. And very often I was not able to just rely on my personality and active listening skills and educating them on what I had to offer was not enough. I knew that there was something that I was missing. And when I found Jeremy Miner and NEPQ, I actually found him on Instagram very early when he had gotten on there. I definitely connected to some of the things he was saying, some of the things that he was teaching. I had never really thought about that type of approach before, and I was definitely very intrigued. So I decided to enroll in one of his 5-day boot camps. I don't remember what he called it at that time, probably similar to like a fix your script boot camp, which I know it wasn't called that when I did it, but something like that. Every day there was a different topic. And it was really just designed to give you a foundation, more than what he shows on Instagram, but not as much as what he shows in the actual modules for purchase. At the end of the 5 days, of course, everybody is offered an incentive to go ahead and move forward with purchasing the 2.0 or the 3.0. Other incentives for purchasing the Inner Circle product, which is where you get a coach that will help you move forward with putting a script together or helping you understand certain pieces of the training modules that maybe weren't so clear to you. And it came at a discount. I did decide that I did want to take it serious, and I did move forward in purchasing the 2.0. That's the only thing I ever purchased. Now, when I was going through the 2.0 modules, I kind of describe it to people that know me as the movie A Beautiful Mind. And when you're watching Russell Crowe, write on the chalkboard and you see this bubble appear above his head where it's just all these symbols and numbers coming together because his brain is moving at a rate that is so fast and everything's coming together for him and making so much sense to him. But to other people, it looks garbled. And it wasn't until I wrote my script. I completely rewrote my script in that week that I went through it. I literally locked myself in my bedroom. I was sick with COVID and went through the modules multiple times, rewrote my script. And before I launched it to my team, I tested it myself first. I went into the phones for a full week, tested the script, and overnight, and I said this in the interview that Jeremy had me on his podcast, it was like overnight, I went from a 25 to 30% close rate all the way to like a 75% close rate on conversations that lasted greater than 5 minutes. It was so night and day for me. I had never seen such good results from just implementing some things that were clearly missing from my sales process, some of the order in which I was doing it in. Everything made so much sense to me. Okay, and this is where I'm going to insert some of the cons, some of the danger things to look out for if you're going to be investing in NEPQ. You have to think about the reason behind Jeremy and his team have a 3.0, why they have the Inner Circle. The reason, in my opinion, why they have those advanced training modules, why they have coaches there that you have to pay X amount per quarter to have access to, is because for most people, the modules and the amount of information that you get on all the different phases that he talks about as far as your sales presentation should go, all the different phases, I think for a lot of people, it can be very overwhelming. And conceptually, you might be able to understand it, but then to go ahead and implement it yourself is very, very difficult for a lot of people. So you could invest thousands of dollars in the 2.0 module and still have no idea how to put a script together. You could invest all that money into 2.0, think, I'm still not getting it, let me go into 3.0, maybe that'll help me, and still not really get it. And part of it is just how your brain is wired. Right? You may need extra help to say, okay, I understand this phase and this phase and this phase, but how does that reflect on my script, right? In my industry, how can I actually use that when customers are, I'm on the phone with customers? Because you're not just scripting your part of the conversation. Part of how you create a script is predicting what your customer is going to say and then being able to be prepared to respond no matter what they say back. And that's very difficult for a lot of people to do. So I would caution people to wait a minute, whether you're investing in NEPQ or another sales training program, It's one thing to be able to be presented with fantastic information. And I'm the first one to say that Jeremy Minor and the NEPQ program was life-changing for me. But I only did 2.0, and it was like a million light bulbs came on for me, and I knew exactly what I was missing, and I knew exactly how to implement it. And I think some of the dangers that people can fall into when investing in a system like that is the light bulbs maybe come on halfway, or maybe you get really excited about it, but you're not quite sure how that's going to translate on your phone call, how that's going to translate into the field, how that's going to translate on a script. And you have to be prepared to possibly make an even bigger investment into the inner circle so that you can work with his team and they can help you put that script together so they could role play with you, so they could listen to your calls. And that incremental cost adds up a lot over time. And I don't know if I hadn't gotten it after the investment that I made in 2.0, I don't know if I would have continued going to the 3.0, going to the inner circle. I don't know if it would have been worth it to invest that much more money if I was that far behind in conceptually not understanding how to implement what I was learning. So one of the benefits of being on a team like mine, or being on a team who has a leader that has not just gone through NEPQ, but has really understood how to implement the sales process, is that you don't have to invest in it yourself, right? I'm sort of like that coach that can help you understand the concept behind the modules and help you understand how that translates onto the phone, right? Asking those hard questions, getting the customer to talk about what they've done to, change their current situation and what happens if they don't change their current situation, and getting them to talk me into why they need what I have to offer before I even go into how much it costs, right? All of that requires skill, and that's a big part of how NEPQ teaches you how to think, right? It's changing your way of thinking, and that's very difficult for people to do. I have people on my team right now who have my script who are still resistant to the way that the NEPQ approach has shown me significant results, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to translate to everybody. And that's one of the big things that opened my eyes about the sales training in general, is it really depends on the person. And you are only going to know that yourself. If you're going through some of these modules, if you've decided to invest in it and it's not clicking and it's not making sense, then there's a disconnect, right? There's a disconnect between where you are as a salesperson and where you want to be. And you have to decide, do I want to continue to further invest in my learning or not? That barrier to entry to me was not big enough. So it was definitely worth it for me. And it has paid me 10 times over, 100 times over. And to be able to have that gift to teach my team on how to change their thought process, how to change their way of thinking, the psychology of sales, the human behavior element. For me, it was life-changing and worth every penny. This is also why we have, the 80-20 rule. 20% of agents are going to write 80% of the business. I do feel that is the same sort of results that people will get when purchasing a sales training program. I would guess, and I don't know that this is true, but I would guess that maybe 20% of the people that invest in NEPQ get the biggest results. Now, they have such a huge reach now. 20% may be a huge number. They have testimonials like crazy, and I'm so happy to see their growth. And, Jeremy's everywhere, and I love that for him. I would just caution you, before you decide to invest, to figure out what type of learner you are, because the modules by itself may not give you what it gave me. And I'm just saying that because I think someone needs to tell you that it might not give you the same results. All of that just kind of depends on the type of learner you are, where you're at in your sales process before beginning that journey. Whether it's NEPQ or something else, you're probably going to have similar results, really no matter where you decide to invest your money and your time. I also want to thank Matt Ryder and Anthony Fazzari, who had spent a month with my team almost 2 years ago, coaching us on objection handling in the first 30 seconds, helping us rewrite some of the beginning parts of the script, responding to the objections. All of that was a huge help in transforming the way that we engage with customers. And I credit most of my success as far as from a conversion rate standpoint and a teaching standpoint to the 7th level team. So thank you everybody if you're watching, and if you do decide to move forward with Jeremy and NEPQ, I think that is an excellent decision. And if you don't, then at least you know that you're the type of person that will have a hard time implementing it. You have to decide if the modules are not going to be enough. You have to make that internal commitment that you might have to jump right up to that inner circle and have that hand-holding. A lot of people need that hand-holding. The modules by themselves just may not be enough. So feel free to ask me any questions about my experience with NEPQ in the comments. I'm happy to answer. I am an open book about it. I am a huge fan, and I look forward to seeing you guys on my next video. Thanks for watching.